Hi, my name is Kevin Barron. I'm Director of Government Affairs for the American Small Business League, and I wanted to talk about this upcoming small business conference being put on by the Obama administration. Last month, President Obama announced that he was going to be sponsoring a conference with SBA Administrator Karen Mills and Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner to discuss this issue of access to capital for small businesses. Obviously, right now, with the economy being in the shape that it's in, small businesses are still struggling to have access to loans and credit that they need to survive. Now, this conference is to be held Wednesday, November 18th. We're now less than a week away from the conference, and still no information has been put out as to where the conference will be held, who will be attending, and what the actual agenda of the conference is going to be. This raises some serious concerns for us. We actually have some concerns over the legitimacy of this conference. We've basically gotten a lot of smoke and mirrors from the Obama administration so far on small business issues, and this very well likely could be another one of those events that is just more talk, essentially all show and no go. Our concern is that any actual small business group that may be at this conference will be one of the small business groups that are actually backed by Fortune 500 companies, and no real small business advocates like the American Small Business League will actually be allowed to attend. Our concern is that these details are being withheld purposefully by the Obama administration to keep small businesses and real small business advocates from actually attending this conference. Another concern that we have that's going to come out of this conference is that essentially this could be focused on ways of allowing businesses that are majority owned or controlled by venture capital companies to be considered small businesses. The Obama administration and members of Congress have been pushing for quite some time to put forward a loophole to allow these large venture capital firms to own or control small businesses and still be able to keep that small business status, basically changing the definition of a small business to allow these venture capital companies in. We feel that because of the backers of Obama's campaign, as well as major campaign contributors to members of the House and Senate Small Business Committees, these large venture capital firms will possibly be able to succeed in getting that loophole as a result of this conference. One of the other major concerns that we have that could come out of this conference is that President Obama could be looking to close or shut down a lot of these small business programs, and in fact possibly shut down the SBA altogether, basically merging it into the Commerce Department, which we all know is a tricky Washingtonian way of essentially shutting down an agency. We saw that happen with FEMA back when FEMA was merged into the Department of Homeland Security, and we know after Hurricane Katrina that it didn't work out so well for the folks in New Orleans. And unfortunately, if the Obama administration is planning on merging the SBA into the Commerce Department, we don't think that's going to work out very well for small businesses. We've seen this over the course of the last year. It's been all talk with no action when it comes to these small business issues. In fact, nothing highlights this issue more than the fact that small businesses have received less than 1% of all the stimulus money that our government has been spending on trying to stimulate our economy. When the Census Bureau shows that small businesses are creating over 97% of all net new jobs right now, to be giving small businesses less than 1% of stimulus money just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. If President Obama were serious about really wanting to help small businesses, he would support legislation like H.R. 2568. It's the Fairness and Transparency in Contracting Act. This bill would essentially close a loophole that exists in the current laws that have allowed Fortune 500 companies to receive small business contracts and be counted towards the government's small business procurement goals. This is an issue that costs our small businesses over $100 billion a year, and with this one piece of legislation could bring that $100 billion a year back into the hands of our small businesses and do a lot more to stimulate our economy than anything that we've seen coming out of Washington so far. So to recap, very briefly, we have some serious concerns over the actual legitimacy of this small business conference next week, as no details have been put out. We don't know who's going to be there. Our estimate is that the conference will include the usual suspects, which basically boils down to Fortune 500 companies, venture capitalists, and those people along those lines, without actually having any real voice for small businesses in the room. My name is Kevin Barron. I'm Director of Government Affairs for the American Small Business League. Thank you.